Okay, it's 9 o'clock and we are ready to start this webinar regarding PMO as the enabler for AI-powered project management. My name is Joksi Kaaja from Project Management Professionals Finland. So before we give the stage for Reinhard, Markku Aarni will say a few words about the Finnish PMO special interest group and what kind of plans we will have. So, Markku.
Yeah, thanks, Joksi. So the idea is to start again PMO team group or SIG. During years, it has been active and organized webinars, workshops, and so on concerning PMO development. And the main happening has been that 3 PMO in Tampere. With Joksi, we are planning how to do it exactly, and you will hear more in August and September. But the idea is to form a group where active people will share their knowledge and develop new ways to go forward with their own PMOs. And of course, AI is an important topic today and these days. But of course, what is the strategic position in your own organization? Why you have a PMO, and how to how to make your own way and go forward. That kind of themes are going, and we work with them. But I think that we will tell more in August and September. But different happenings, and of course you can you can send an email or call me or Joksi immediately. But that kind of things are coming.
Okay. Thank you, Markku. This team group SIG will be a topic in the project management days Projektiammattilaiset as well. So that's a place where you can ask more and we can discuss more about this as well. And so then let's go to the other very experienced expert, Reinhard Wagner, who's been in Finland a couple of times and helping us. For example, we have had a couple of Delta assessments with Reinhard leading assessor in those. Reinhard has been in our 3 PMO project management days and a couple of webinars before this. But now I give the stage for you and you can let us know what's going to happen with the AI at the PMO.
Joksi, can you confirm that you see my slides?
Yes, all good.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you and good morning. And I leave it up to you to guess where I am at the moment. I'm today participating in a big creative bureaucracy festival. And that's quite fancy because there's also a lot of talk about AI. And there's anyway a lot of talk about AI in this project management domain. So this is why I wanted to give some input what that could do for a PMO and how does it maybe enable an AI-powered project management. So my name is Reinhard Wagner. I'm from Munich originally, and I've dedicated this talk to my 2 sons, which you see on the right, because we have been to the IPMA research conference in the US in University of Maryland, where we presented our 2 expertise, because mine is project management and my sons are studying at the Technical University AI. Thomas on the left, more on the blockchain and smart contracts and stuff. Very interesting. Also a combination with project management. And Philip is more on machine learning, on visual recognition and other things. So it was a very good combination. So this is also a theme, a big theme in IPMA, which I was leading for a part of time. And also there's an AI SIG in IPMA. So if you are interested to exchange ideas, just visit the IPMA webpage and you will find a lot of information about what's going on in the AI SIG. And if you have later questions or any comments, you can send them to my email address, which you see on the bottom of this page. So if we talk about a PMO, it's kind of in a zoo. So it's quite big variety of aspects or lenses that we could look at. So some say a PMO is a support unit for a single or individual project, which I would call a project office. If you have big transformations in organizations going on, then we have also offices, which I would call then a transformation management or a change management office. Some PMOs are virtual, so they are spanning several countries. So they may be a more virtual PMO as opposed to a physical PMO. And so you see, we have a lot of variants on PMOs. We just to change the role and the function of a PMO, but the organizational setup, the people that are involved in that, and also maybe has some impacts on the IT infrastructure and the digital tools that we are using, especially if we are in a very international PMO. The utilization of IT and digital tools is quite necessary. We may have also various PMOs within one organization. So very large organizations typically have more than a dozen PMOs. That could be a corporate or enterprise PMO at the top. And that's more responsible for the governance, for the strategy alignment, etc. While the divisional PMOs or country PMOs are more operational, more supporting the projects in that portfolio on area of responsibility. So that's big variety. And also last time I showed the traditional roles of a PMO. So not all of the PMO have all these roles. So it's often a combination of those roles. But first, and that's at the left top, a PMO typically looks at governance. So sets policies, regulations, guides, let's say, the whole project work or the project world in an organization. And therefore, we sometimes translate the ISO 21505, that's an international standard on governance for projects, programs, and portfolios into an organization. So that's framing the whole work. And I will come back to that because later we will also speak about the role of AI in these frameworks, because we need to take care of governance for AI. And that's a very important point. Then on the left, you see what typically a PMO is doing is setting the standards, the methods and the tools. So typically which project management methods are used, or program or portfolio management methods. Which standards is being followed and what kind of tools. And I'm not speaking only about IT tools, but templates and stuff is being used. And you may know and also understand that here digitalization nowadays plays a very important role in these methods and tools, because they're making the life of a PMO officer on the team much easier. Now, on the top right, we see portfolio management. But typically, a PMO is looking into the multiple projects and programs that are in the area of responsibility. So the call is to bring up, let's say, a multi-projects list, or make transparent what kind of projects you have, what the status is. And here, digitalization, IT tools play a very significant role in a PMO. And actually here, also AI and all sorts of digital tools play a very significant role. Training and coaching, what you see on the right, that's a classical task of a PMO. So what you see is that typically in a PMO, you can have support people that coach and train young and maybe unexperienced project managers in using the standards and the methods and the tools on the left, and bring them up to speed so that they can perform in the projects. And that may also be added AI training and AI coaching, because those tools are pretty new for the project managers in space. And so they typically need some support and some help. And on the bottom, you see all these project support functions. And typically right now, it's more on helping project managers to establish a project, to plan, schedule, monitor, control, report. All these things are typically supported from the PMO. And I will later also show that also AI plays a very significant role. Now, there are some things that you don't see on this picture, and typically, and it's a pity, PMOs are not involved in the strategic alignment, and typically they are not involved in the development of the strategy and also not the strategic capabilities. And this is basically the essence of my talk today, that the PMO should be more engaged in this strategic alignment and capability building, because otherwise PMOs may be shut down, closed down, because they don't add enough value. And we had a very big discussion in Iceland, in Reykjavik at the university a few weeks back, where we also looked at the value that a PMO should deliver to an organization to survive. Because sure, a PMO is cost, is personnel that you need to pay. And in the end, it's the value add, the value proposition of a PMO that makes it more likely that a PMO will survive the cost cutting or transformation of organizations typically. And this is why I will talk a little bit more about AI now. But looking into the landscape of product management, it's quite interesting that AI experts now sprout like mushrooms in social media. So now people that have for many decades been experts in product management now suddenly claim that they are AI experts. And that's a very dangerous route, because they are claiming that like Gartner is claiming 80% of the work of today's product management will disappear through AI, which is very frankly nonsense. But very frankly, it will change significantly. In which direction it will change, that is what I'm talking about. But that makes many people very anxious, because they don't know what will happen through AI. And if they are anxious, they are not doing what I like them to do, to just deal with technology, play with it, learn how to use it and implement it in their practice. So we should encourage people to use and deal with AI, not building on anxiety, but on curiosity, or let's say the understanding that AI may bring benefits and advantages to their organizations, to their PMOs, and to them also personally. And this is why I'm always more talking about the advantages and the, let's say, the fun dealing with AI, and not so much under this, oh, we will lose so-and-so jobs, and we will be replaced by machines and robots, etc. Because, again, that's nonsense. Now, the field of AI in project management is developing. And on the very left, you see an IPMA survey that we published, I think, in 2020 or 2019, so 5 years ago. and it already showed a bit the road ahead. The most of the findings materialized in the meantime. But it already said 5 years ago that AI will not replace project management. It will make the life of the project manager more easy because repetitive tasks will be done by AI tools and so on. The project manager may focus more on the soft part of project management, which means collaboration, leadership, communication, and other things. And it will also help on the decision making to have more informed decisions. So AI will be more an assistant to the project manager, but not a replacement. And I think I like that notation, because it means that we are adding another tool in our toolbox to the tools we already have, like methodology, etc. But we use AI more as a tool and not as a replacement, etc. But there are also critical voices, like this PwC study that was done, I think, a year later after our joint study with PwC. And this study was claiming that there's a lot of AI hype, but actually in project management, we don't see much effects, but also not much technology being used at the moment. And that's still true in 2024. We have a lot of social media blog posts. We have a lot of claims of AI experts, but we have very scarce numbers of real applications in AI in project management. And that's astonishing. We also have a lot of scientific publication, but not enough real applications, which gives us an idea how to actually use it. So we need to understand technology, and that's on my next slide, much better, to really apply artificial intelligence to project management, because otherwise we are just on a hype level of a discussion that is not materializing in our domain. So, this study I just showed you says basically we only will have impact if we understand the technology and use it and apply it, and also have people with capabilities that can apply it. So that's our main task now in project management, to understand the technologies, understand where we can use them, bring the people up to speed, just try it out, and then measure the effects, because then we can really speak about an impact of AI in project management and in the PMO or through the PMO, because otherwise it's still on the blah blah level. And unfortunately, also some of the experts in project management are still talking about it, but not trying to work on those use cases. This is why I decided with my sons, they are AI experts. I'm a project management expert, to combine those two views and perspectives and bridge both disciplines. And I think that's much more needed in nowadays world. Now, let me show you a bit the technology that we are seeing. So it's a huge evolution of various technologies that we see. So there was, in the last 1.5 years, a lot of talk about generative AI, which is an emerging technology. But besides ChatGPT and those Gen AI tools, we have many other technologies that are very impactful in project management, like machine learning, deep learning applications. Sometimes it's very difficult to differentiate those technologies because they are kind of dependent to each other. They're building on each other and so on. But it's quite fancy that we actually see that there's a big development and evolution in the technological area. Unfortunately, in our project management domain, we don't see that. So you need to go to tech conferences, like today I'm here on one, but also you need to deal with tech people. Like my sons are in the technical university. This is very much focused in Munich on artificial intelligence. They have a startup scene, they have accelerators, they have people like Sam Altman coming and collaborating. They focus on the development in technology, but they are not so much concerned about the application, and especially not in our domain of product management. So we need to understand the technology evolution and apply it in our domain. It's up to us, because otherwise that ICE train will pass the domain of product management and focus on many other domains. What we looked at in our survey, that's what my youngest son did, was to check in publications which of the technologies are mostly used in project management. So natural language processing, obviously expert system, computer vision, robotics. And you already see that audio, for example, is not yet really applied as a technology. Also computer vision is not yet, but it's also gaining traction at the moment. My youngest is more in the robotics area, and that is especially for the construction domain a very important area. Like you can have drones scanning a construction site, or robots going into certain non-secure areas like in nuclear or other areas. And that's very interesting to see that in specific areas of construction, we see many of these technologies now popping up. And by the way, we found that construction, the most traditional industry, is applying AI in project management the most. It is not IT, it is not media or other industries. It's the construction industry by far that has most of the applications in AI that we see, at least based on the literature review we did. We also wanted to see where and which phases of product management AI is actually practiced. We don't see much in closing phase, so that's on the very right. And that's also a pity, I would say, because lessons learned, knowledge capturing, retrospectives and so on, I think there could be done much more. It's also not a lot that we found in the initiation or initialization phase of projects, which is also a pity, because in the preparation of your business case or your project charter and so on, there could be many of the technologies being used, capturing information, preparing the decision making, etc. Right now, in the planning phase, as you see on the left, there are most of the applications. The numbers are just the literature we gathered. So what you see here is many different variants of technologies and aspects. And even GPTs are used for scheduling, for building a project plan. You have a lot of machine learning applications or deep learning applications, also for analyzing data, pulling up a schedule, and also for risk analysis and risk mitigation measures. You can use machine learning applications and deep learning applications. So that's quite fascinating, beyond Monte Carlo and other methodologies that we use in project management typically for these things. But let me also look into something that we presented also in the US when we talked about synergies between AI and product management. And it's quite fascinating that and we have use cases in that area, like big construction and EPC companies working in foreign countries. You typically have several hundred construction suppliers or contractors involved, where you need to have a contract, where you need to monitor and track the progress of their deliveries, and then a certain payment is being processed. That's very complex, not only because of the sheer numbers of these contractors, but also maybe you are in a different legal area, so you have a different legal system. You have no banking access, like in Pakistan or so. It's difficult to process payments. And this is how AI can help to develop smart contracts, which define all these conditions and build trust based on legal obligations. Then this whole contract is translated into a blockchain with cryptocurrencies. And so by monitoring and tracking the progress on site, this payment and financial monitoring and payments could be just automatically transferred to the contractors if their obligations have been fulfilled. So you see, it's a combination of AI, which can be used like Gen AI to develop a contract, a smart contract building on other contracts, or legal frameworks or legal parameters that you have, let's say. But then also combining that through a blockchain with cryptocurrencies for the finances and financial payments. And that's quite complex. Yes, I agree. But it's changing the whole setup of your project and how you deal. It's building trust between the parties, because besides cybersecurity incidents, etc., the contract itself and the payment system is quite trustworthy. And when I'm talking about cybersecurity, I will later also address that. It means that we need to have a framework and also framework conditions where all this works. Now, that's one example. But also what we use at TIBA at the moment is quite a lot of these digital applications. You may not call it AI, but it's no-code, low-code based, using Microsoft, the Power Platform. And we have a lot of chatbots, business applications, dashboards, reporting tools created by just a few people that we call citizen developers, power users who just know how to program and how to use Power BI. And just pull together a dashboard which is automatically fed by information from all the sources, from the data lake, so to say. And that can be your SAP, that can be Microsoft sources, etc. And wherever I am, as TIBA managing director, I have on my smartphone all the information about my company and turnover and profits and all this stuff. So it's also for project quite powerful because it replaces dozens of people sitting behind Excel spreadsheets, filling Excel cells, and that takes quite a lot of time. It's a boring task, and through this automation, those repetitive tasks can be actually replaced. So you see, there's a lot of tools now, but we just need to use them and apply them in our project domain. And that brings me to new roles, because I said, sure, we may lose certain roles and functions like these people for documentation or these Excel specialists, and we will see new roles in a PMO popping up. And I just talked about citizen developers. We have already 7 citizen developers in my company, which is about 250 to 300 people. It means they are like you and me. We are not specialists in coding, in programming and using these tools. But these citizen developers typically are quite young people. They just like to use these IT tools. They train themselves or make a crash course on using these Power BI and Power Automate tools. and then do this kind of dashboards or reports or shortcuts. And it's quite powerful because they replace other people on the reporting and documentation side. We will see also in the PMO more business analysts that know how to use tools and AI in order to analyze the vast amount of data that we have. Data in the portfolio of all the status information, of all the past projects and the future project pipeline, and help the steering committees to have informed decisions. We may have prompt engineers who know how to write the right prompt for a generative AI. That may be an open generative AI, but my recommendation is always to have an internal Gen AI, where you can even now have at least 80% ready draft of your project proposal or project plan done by the computer. The rest, the 20%, you need to add. You need to uplift what the computer is providing to you. But it's quite promising that you can save time and can build on previous information of projects and compile a pretty good proposal for your project or a project plan and just refine it with your specialists in the end. What we see nowadays also in our circumstances at TIBA, that we have a lot of people which are very creative, using other Gen AIs which are more visual, which are more creating certain icons or certain visualizations, simulations, games, etc. So here we see a mix of arts and crafts intermingling into our domain of project management. And that may be interesting for presentations, but it's also good for project marketing your project to your stakeholders, maybe external or internal stakeholders. And that's a quite interesting thing. And on the very right, you see also that we have increasingly new role of change makers or change agent or whatever you call, so people that help others to pick up on AI and actually use those tools in their environment. And certainly in the PMO, we need more and more IT experts who know how to use cloud applications, who help us to connect to others. Collaboration tools are very fancy now in project management, where you can collaborate like MS Teams with people that sit far away from you, but you can also share documents. You can collaborate on whiteboards or Miro boards or murals or whatever the tools are. But for that, you need some IT experts who help you to set up those IT applications and maintain it and also manage those users. Now, I was speaking about capabilities. And in my area of academia, I'm building heavily on a theory that's called dynamic capabilities. I don't want to go into details of dynamic capabilities, but it's actually saying that an organization develops a core capability, okay, core competence. Every organization needs to have a core competence because otherwise it's difficult to survive. Now, that core competence needs to change because our markets, our client needs, everything is changing around us. Now, who is responsible for picking up the ideas, the opportunities, identifying opportunities? And my argument would be it would be a perfect match to the PMO, to the sensing, identify opportunities that you see using AI in projects. Which of the AI technologies works best, which is maybe not suitable to your organization, and then saying, okay, you design and redefine your business model by using AI. maybe saying, okay, you change your products to be more AI-driven, or your processes to be designed and refined by using AI tools and digitalization and automation, etc. And that basically will transform your organization with the new roles, maybe new processes, but also a different mindset and a different culture. So that's what the theory is saying. And my plea would be that it would be best positioned in the PMO, because the PMO is the main driver of activities through projects and programs and portfolios. So if the PMO picks up that role of being an enabler, building strategically the capabilities in an organization by utilizing AI, that would be a very powerful role and a value add of a PMO. So I would advocate for that the PMO should be positioned in that area and helping the organization to dynamically build new capabilities, leveraging from the AI applications in projects. But it means, again, that you need to have these roles, that you also build up your PMO more strategically. And now I'm a little bit also talking about governance, because that already opens a new box of challenges that you see. And also at TIBA, we have discussed that very intensively, that sure, the more you use AI technologies, the more you need to have concerns and protection related to data security and privacy. That you also need to ensure that through Gen AI, you are not integrating, let's say, a bias, because we know that generative AI is biased in certain areas, and maybe also not treating everyone of the staff fair. So this is also that we need to have a very non-discriminatory environment in the AI domain. It sounds a bit complex and abstract, but we see very practical problems, like in the development area. So developers are typically male, and also, let's say, output of AI is typically very much male biased. And this is what we need to be careful with. Also, we need to be a bit careful with to explain the outcome of AI and digitalization, because sometimes it's kind of a black box. We don't know and understand how the results are generated, and make more transparent the quality of the outcome. And therefore, we need to have a look into the mechanisms of AI and understand the technology and its limitations, and make transparency to the user and the decision makers what the deficiencies of the AI application in our domain is. Because, okay, I said 80%, it's a very good result, but 20% is a question mark. And we need to make very clear what the contribution of AI to certain decisions or outcomes is. Integration challenges. Yeah, that's a big thing because we have too many different software systems like islands, and AI just can only grab from different software systems. So it's not a big data lake. It's very small lakes. And so also that's limiting you in using that. And the last one is also mentioned, that over-reliance on AI is also one of the challenges that we see nowadays. And we should be very cautious that we also have our human oversight and decision-making still in place. So this means we need to have a governance. So at TIBA, the first thing we did was actually building an AI governance system. We injected that also in our guidelines and in our regulations, so that all the people, all staff really knows how to use AI and know what the limitations of it is. That brings me to the second last slide. And it says a little bit a look ahead. What does that make with the PMO? So the PMO could be, and that's the top left, not only caring for governance, but being more the strategic guide. That includes a little bit looking into the future, so foresight. It is the strategic capability building through AI sensing and sensing. That's also knowledge brokerage through data analytics and making this data and analysis available to all the people in the projects. That's also the support function that you see in the bottom, which means that we have new roles in the PMO, citizen developers, data analysts, etc., etc. But that also may mean, because somehow the people get lost in the PMO, that we have, let's say, this caregiver role in a PMO, dealing with people and also taking care for the people in the PMO or in the project domain, more valued than maybe before. And finally, on the top right, you see these integrator roles, and that is already in place more through a portfolio function. But I would say that's a more intense and more strategic integrator role than it was in the past. A few words, conclusions, and then we have time for Q&A. There's a huge hype regarding AI. I would sometimes say it's blah, blah. We should be more concerned about the technology and the application of technology in project management. And I would encourage all of you to just use it, try it, make your experiences, and build new capabilities. And that's a value add to the PMO, to the organization, and that it powers project management to survive and thrive. But it will also have an impact on personnel development, but also organizational development, because we need to teach people how to use AI technologies. And we also need to show them the challenges and the risks of using AI. But I hope with that I have painted a more positive picture of AI utilization, because I see more the opportunities than the threats of losing jobs and closing down PMOs. Use AI for enriching and enabling the organization in the 21st century. Now, it's your time. Questions, please. Or Joksi, you may read the questions to me.
Yes, we have many good comments on the chat, and I'll go straight through some of the questions. So there's a question about AI-powered PMO, how to implement in organizations where PMO is totally missing.
Well, the PMO is missing. Okay, then you need. Well, our experience is that we have young people, giving them space, whether that's in the PMO or whether that's in projects. It doesn't matter. Just give them space to use AI and experiment, and that will help us and help you to push the theme forward. So it's not necessary to have a PMO, but typically a PMO is, let's say, the integrator for all project activities.
Okay, then there's a question. What is the best places in a company for developing the AI competencies, and what is about the responsibility of making AI strategy? Not only for the PMO.
Yeah, I start with the last one. So basically, the responsibility for the AI governance remains with the leadership of the organization. So, but I'm the managing director of TIBA together with Till Balzer, but we don't know how to shape an AI governance. So this is why I formed a task force on AI. We have very different people in there. So we have one IT specialist, we have a few citizen developers asked, we have an external guy who is AI expert asked to join that task force. And So together, the leadership with some experts should develop this AI framework or governance. Don't do it alone or do a copy paste or don't ask ChatGPT. You may ask ChatGPT, but just compare with what you have found. What was the first part of the question?
Just a second. What are the best places in a company for developing the AI competencies?
In the practice field, don't do it, let's say, on theoretical, let's say, HR or not even in the IT department. I would put it in the more business development in the business sectors. Because it's experimentation, it should be real applications. It should not be theoretical. Just make little experiments. I think that would be my best advice. Like we did, we lived once in applications that help our own processes, internal processes, to be more proficient, to be more efficient, etc. But we also looked into our customer experiences, new products, new services through AI. And that was very, very interesting. In that case, we also used our clients, some of our good clients that we involved and asked, can we do an experiment in your organizations together? And they typically said, yes, let's do it. So just experiment.
Mm-hmm. So what are the three most essential characteristics or competencies in a PMO or in a company to bring AI into project management in a managed way?
I'm an elder generation. I would say curiosity. Okay. So I'm always curious what these technologies brings. I'm curious how does it work. And so I started in the first day to use ChatGPT. I found also that I asked it, who is Reinhard Wagner? And there was a really perfect outline of what Reinhard Wagner studied, what his PhD topic was, etc., etc. But it was totally made up. It was not me at all. It was totally made up. It was a totally different person. And that was for me also very, let's say, heads up saying, okay, be careful what you ask, how you ask those questions. And so, again, be open, experiment, try it out, and don't trust everything that it is delivering to you. So be critical, ask back, ask questions, side questions. And we know that sometimes also it is faking information. So hallucination is one of the problems. And we did that also in some tests, and it's true. So be careful. Don't trust everything that is spitting out.
Okay, and since AI is now coming into people's mobile devices very rapidly, will AI come through the back door into the organization, and is that a problem or a solution?
I don't know. I cannot answer that because now, yes, Apple announced that they will put it on the Apple phones, iPhones, and so on. They claim that it is safe and that nothing will happen with your data. But anyway, we at TIBA, we work heavily with our automotive industry, and the automotive industry is very restrictive. So which tools, how can you exchange data and so on? So we have cybersecurity, let's say, guidelines that we need to follow, because otherwise we're out of business in automotive industry. And this is why we have to have this in place in our organization to restrict people of using that on their mobile phones. So Typically, I also have several mobile phones. One is my private. I can do whatever I do on my private. But my business phone is a different, with different applications, because we need to ensure this privacy and data security. So it is an issue, and we need to be very careful. And I don't trust in all the announcement of Apple, Google, and Co. So we need to have our own judgments in this.
Okay, then there's a comment that if PMO is now guidelines and Excel oriented, it is challenging to start to be an AI transformation lead. Mindset is important, and good question is also, who are the best partners in your organization when you start to take next steps with AI PMO? Who are the best partners in your organization?
I don't know. I don't know that organization, but again, I would say there's maybe not one best partner. It's the people. You need to identify the people that are open-minded, that they are creative, that they are try and test. Maybe try first at home with your sons and daughters, and then implement the same habit in your organization. And so I have very good experiences with just young students. Give them some internship, and give them a small task, and work with them. And that gives you insights, and they may then start in your organization. So that would be my preferred way. Don't look too much in your organization, because I think there's no such a thing like one partner in your organization. I'm not sure.
Okay, I think that's about the questions in the chat so far. And we are also closing to 10 o'clock, so let's see. Oh yeah, there's a about the mindset. What do you think? Which department or which persons in a company are the most likely having the right mindset for AI? Is it IT, HR? You mentioned maybe not.
No, I would look into your business development department if there's such a thing. My experience in my company is also that the marketing people are quite open and interested. So our marketing department is very much using it. They were also the first one in marketing automation. So connecting, let's say, social media with the customer journey in customer relationship management and so on. So there's a lot of automation going on in the marketing area. So they are quite open to that. It's often not the technical discipline. So I would also be a bit hesitant to the IT department. If you sure have a software department developing software, sure, those are the people that are very open to use it. But the IT department is more on infrastructure, on IT systems, etc. So my IT department is not the first one I would ask, because they may have then more concerns about IT security, etc., etc.
Yeah, they see also the risks better than the others, maybe. So, thank you, Reinhard.